This is Gumsy Granny back again. Today I would like to speak about savings, teaching your children to save for the future. When I was a child, no bigger than a toddler, my grandmother in Glasgow used to hand me 2 shillings and sixpenny piece wrapped in newspaper. She said to me then, as I got older, save your money for a rainy day. As I grew up, my parents used to give me pocket money for doing my chores, cleaning out the fire, brushing my father's boots, washing the breakfast dishes, making beds, all that. I learned at a young age, whatever money I earned, to pay myself first before I spent anything. Pay myself first is what I want to talk about. When one grows up and starts working, you earn a salary or a wage. One of the first things you should do, that very, very first wage or salary that you've earned, you must put aside, start a savings account with that one salary. Thereafter, every month, when your week, when your wage or your salary gets paid, take at least 10% and pay yourself into your savings account. As your salary or your wage climbs year after year after year, that 10% also climbs year after year after year. When it comes to buying something that you want, you have money in that account. My father said to me, if you want something, you save half and I'll give you the other half. And that's how I grew up. My first record player, my father gave me half the money. I paid the other half. It also teaches your children to respect what they've bought, to look after it. If you buy it outright, they don't respect that. They say, oh, Mummy, Daddy, they'll buy me another one. That, when I turned 16, I wanted a brand new bike. So I went to the local shop that sold bicycles and I started putting money down against a second-hand bike. My mother used to go to that shop because it wasn't just a bike shop. It was a shop that sold all sorts of things. And one day she went in and the gentleman said to her, you tell your daughter her bike's ready. So my mum said, what bike? He said, no, she wanted to buy a bike that is second hand. So I fixed it up, redone the tyres, the brakes, everything, he says, and it's ready. So she can come and pick up her bike. So my mum said to him, but how much does it cost? Oh, he says she's already paid for it. She came in every week with her pocket money and she's paid against it. Oh, so my mum went home and told my father. So my dad went down, had a look at the bike. He saw this other bike sitting, a lady's racing bike. And he said, how much is that bike? So he says, well, your daughter's not got enough money for that. My dad says, I want to know how much it is and how much she's got in her account. So he told her. So the Saturday came along. I had a little part-time job working at a licensed grocer. And Mr. Johnson, who owned the licensed grocers, had me outside sweeping the pavement. And he's standing there and says, is this your father coming over? And I said, yeah, it is. He says, oh, he's got a smart new bike by the looks of things. So I thought, why did my dad want a bike? You know, where he worked was right next to where we lived. So I thought, why did my dad want a bike? So anyway, he comes over, I says, and not thinking and not noticing it's a woman's bike. So I said, my dad, what you do with my bike? He says, you like it? And I says, oh yeah, it's really nice. He says, you want to have a go on it? So I thought, yeah, okay. So I go on the bike and thingy, come back, and he says, happy birthday. I says, but Dad, I'm buying a bike from Mr. Rideaway. He says, this is your bike. He says, Mr. Rideaway, put your money onto it, and I paid the balance. And that's what I mean. That bike, I had that bike for 5 years. It was brand spanking new. And I was getting married and we had nowhere to put the bike. So I decided to sell it. The gentleman who came to see it, my mother showed him it. Oh, he says, I'm sorry, I thought it was a second-hand bike. My mum says, it is. It's 5 years old. And he says, but your daughter must never rode it. So my mum said she belonged to a cycling club. And she used it every weekend. And she used to sometimes go to work on it, come back in it. She says, but every time she used it, she cleaned it. And in the winter, when the snow came down or the weather was too bad in Scotland, I used to strip it, coat it in Vaseline, and hang it up for the winter. That gentleman couldn't believe that was an old bike. The tires were replaced 17 times, but inside those tires, the tubes were the original tubes when the bike was bought. I was very careful with my bike. And that's what I'm saying. Teach your children to value the sense of money. Teach them to respect what they have. They must look after it. And the only way is to make them pay for that 50%. They will thank you as they grow older. Thank you for watching Gumsy Granny. Remember, press that little button. Goodbye. God bless.